episode 13.
Yes.
Unlucky for some.
Or also lucky for some.
Yeah, I'm yet to meet a person who's like 13 is my lucky number, but I know they're out there, and I'm kind of scared of that kind of person as a concept.
I don't have a lucky number. Like I don't know. I don't follow all the lucky unlucky shit. I don't trust it.
I fully get why people have like lucky numbers and stuff, but I'm the same. I don't really have one. But how's your week?
Busy. There's a lot of work going on with KSP because obviously I think I mentioned in the last episode, but we've got the HCS major this month. So there's a lot of moving parts at the moment of different things we are organising to kind of like
get ready for that.
Show ourselves because it's hometown. A lot of cool stuff coming. I think
are you guys like helping the HCS much with like running this event scene as it's your hometown, or not really?
We're not doing anything with the actual HCS event. Like as soon as we're inside, like it's just we're like any other team. But because it's in our hometown, we're organising things around. So I think the only thing we've kind of mentioned on social is we're running a boot camp.
Yes, I saw that. Yeah.
With like
lots of teams, a lot of the top.
So we've got. I think all the teams are locked in now, and I think we've tweeted them out. So there's going to be United, Sentinels, G2, G1, Quadrant, Optic, FaZe, and Navi.
Yeah, that's a big boy roster of boot camp going on there.
So there's more details for that to come out and stuff, but yeah, that's one of the things we're doing, and there's loads of other stuff. So lots of moving parts, very busy week.
It's busy time in Kansas City.
Yeah. How's your week then?
It's been pretty good. Obviously, because I'm a normie unlike you, tomorrow's a bank holiday for me.
Yeah, what's a bank holiday?
But I'm also off all of next week. I booked it off as some annual leave. So next week I'm off a week, just going to be chilling.
So you're going to be radiant?
Yeah, that's it. We've mentioned it. My PC was coming. It is now here. It's put together. I'm using it. And I'm going to be streaming a week. Might do some other stuff as well, but it's going to be nice and chill. I haven't really had a break since I started my new job in January. So I'm very much looking forward to just a bit of a decompression. And then next weekend, I'm heading over to Ireland, see family I haven't seen since before the pandemic, which I'm very, very excited for.
That'll be nice.
It will be.
Don't want to talk about the fiasco that was building your PC then?
Yeah. Well, you see, what it is.
Oh, you're breaking up, Connor.
Breaking up.
I'll have to just move on then, I suppose.
Yeah. So this week, I was kind of stuck on character profiles. I decided to do this one this week, and I've got another one planned for next week. This week is the character profile for Gorr The God Butcher, who is going to be played by Christian Bale in Thor: Love and Thunder. Thunder, not Thunder.
Thunder.
Because I'm from Watford. It's Thunder, not Thunder. And I really don't know a lot about this character at all. This is a basically brand new character to me. I've seen drawings of him from the comics, but at the same time, if you just show me a drawing of him at random, I probably wouldn't be able to tell you what character it was. So this was quite an interesting one for me, and I found out pretty quickly why I know so little about him. He's a very, very new character. His first appearance was only in 2012.
Oh, okay.
My accent is
Can't speak today.
And it's actually, based on what I'm reading here, if they don't change him too much, which I get the feeling they're not going to do too much different, it's a really interesting character. So he was born on a planet with no name and basically no resources, leaving him and all of his people constantly on the brink of starvation.
Mhm.
And weirdly enough, this kind of led to them being very religious. They were all taught to believe in the gods, pray to the gods will protect us and keep us safe.
Mhm.
And then when he was young, his mother and his father died in an earthquake, which left him to fend for himself on this planet with very limited resources. Somehow, he managed to survive into adulthood. He got married, he had kids. Then they
Okay.
all died. It slowly over the period of about 3 or 4 years, his 6 children and wife died. It got down to just him and his last child, and his last child was just as healthy as him, absolutely fine, and then died quite suddenly. And this led to him proclaiming that the gods don't exist and deciding that it's all a bunch of shit. These gods don't exist, they don't care about us, we're just all alone in the universe.
Oh.
Which led to his race and tribe of people who are very religious exiling him to the desert to wander until he died. But he didn't die. He wandered, praying for death, wishing and praying to these gods he doesn't even believe in for him to just die and for this hell to be over. At which point he came across 2 gods fighting in the desert. And one of the gods begged him for help, which infuriated him so much that the other god's sword became this kind of anthropomorphic body of goo that then merged with him, and through his pure anger became his weapon, the sword. I didn't write the name of it down because I thought I'd remember, but I've forgotten. And Gorr now, with the new power that was bestowed upon him by this sword, and the knowledge that the gods do in fact exist, declared war on all gods for not answering his prayers and saving his family. So then we have a little bit of a time jump. He spent thousands of years killing various gods across the universes.
Jeez.
Until he met Thor. At this point, Gorr had been fighting and killing gods for about 3,000 years.
No one stopped him.
No one could stop him. And this led to around about the Viking time on Earth, is when this is taking place.
Mm-hmm.
So obviously Thor is at his most known to the humans of the world at this time.
Mm-hmm.
And he was working with the Vikings, going through parts of Scandinavia when they came across some other gods who had died. At which point Gorr attacked Thor. And just before Gorr could kill Thor, Thor managed to do enough to strike them both with lightning and knock them unconscious.
Okay.
Gorr woke up before Thor, but decided not to kill him. Instead, he dragged him to a cave and tortured him for 3 straight weeks, trying to get him to release where the location of Asgard was, so that Gorr could go and kill all the Asgardians.
Yeah.
But before Thor gave it up, the Vikings managed to find him and fend off Gorr long enough for Thor to get to safety. I didn't read much further than that because it's a character profile. We're just supposed to be getting an idea of their origin and where they come from. So the things of note are, without his sword, he's not that special.
Okay.
He is quite intelligent because he's been alive for so long and learnt lots of things.
Mm-hmm.
And he's quite a talented fighter because he's been fighting gods for so long.
Mm.
and he's a master of torture. Again, through spending so much time doing it. But all of his power comes from the sword. The sword does make him on an even enough playing level with the likes of Thor power-wise.
Okay.
So like it's very powerful, but the big thing is, without his sword, he is a lot of brain, not a lot of. The sword is what makes him a threat.
Disarm him and you.
Exactly. But as far as I can understand, the sword is kind of bonded to him.
Okay.
So I'm not sure how easy it is to get it off of him, or if getting it off of him basically kills him. I also couldn't easily see if his extended lifespan is because of the sword, or if his race of people just can live that long. Which I think would be an even crueler twist of fate if people born on a planet with nothing, who a lot of them die very young, can naturally live thousands of years.
If they manage
exactly. So yeah, that's all I've really got to say about Gorr. I'm interested to see how he's going to be done in Thor: Love and Thunder. And Christian Bale's a fantastic actor. And the reason I decided to do him this week was I didn't know who might show up in Moon Knight this week when I was doing my character profile, so I decided I'd hold off on that in case there was anyone worth doing that came up in this week's episode. But also the Thor: Love and Thunder toys got leaked, which gives us a bit of info about the film and our first look at Gorr in the film.
Yep.
And also there were heavy trailers once again that we were going to get the trailer. So did you see the toys?
I did not. I should probably go and look at them actually.
So I think the big takeaways are we get to see Thor's new costume, not just like his tank top we saw in the promo photos with his arms looking bigger than the planet itself. But he's got like the style is similar to his normal armor, but this color variation of it.
Okay.
We also got to see Jane's Lady Thor with her helmet. We got our first look at Christian Bale's Gorr, and we got a new Star-Lord toy and a new Groot toy, because obviously he left with the Guardians at the end of Endgame. But Star-Lord's looking a little bit like Ego in Guardians of the Galaxy 2. Got a little goatee going on, and just looks a little bit more like Kurt Russell in Guardians of the Galaxy 2, who obviously did play Ego, Star-Lord's father. So yeah, I think that's got everyone desperate for this trailer, because they're like, okay, there's some cool looks here. Now give us some footage, ladies and gentlemen. Let us see a little something.
This is like the third time as well.
Yeah,
I think. Do you know what I was thinking? Because like obviously it never came out. It was rumored or leaked that it was going to or whatever. Because there's somebody amongst all these Marvel films that keeps leaking stuff, right? And I wonder if this is partly them internally saying, oh, the trailer's coming out, and trying to find who's leaking stuff.
So I have two opinions on the whole. There's one leaker working on all these films. I think it's kind of like in sports, when a player or a team leaks something in a certain way to try and gauge opinions. And then because it's just a leak, if it doesn't happen, everyone goes, oh, it was a bad leak. If it does happen, because the people get the response they want, everyone's like, oh yeah, wicked, that was true, let's go. I think that's actually a good chance of what these leaks are. A fair bit of it is just Marvel going, if we put that out, what's the general reception? Do people want it? Do people not want it? Are they going to be angry if it's not there now? Blah 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 blah. And then if everyone goes, I hope they don't do that. That would be terrible. They go, okay, sweet, there we go. That's our crowd survey done. On to the next bit.
True.
But at the same time, maybe this leaker is somehow very good at getting away with shit and not getting caught. I just struggle to believe it with the amount of films.
My only thought is like, it's got to be someone. If it is the case that there is actually someone who is leaking stuff, it's definitely a random crew member that isn't like is a part of like a production company or something that's just like hard to pinpoint.
I get that, but if it was completely true, in which case, of course, Marvel would want to stop it. They know everyone who works on every film. Although there will be a bit of crossover, there won't be that much crossover. Especially when you consider how far apart on like location stuff gets filmed and the times of year. There's got to be a list of maybe not even 50 people who've worked on them like 6 films. Half of them will be so high ranking that they wouldn't dare leak anything. And the other half, that leaves you with 25 people to have a look at and work out.
True.
Which is why I'm kind of, for 2 or 3 films, I could kind of go, okay, cool, this person's just getting away with it. With the amount of films it's been now, I've got a feeling Marvel have either caught them and gone, okay, you're now going to do that, but for us. Or it was Marvel all along just gauging interest and thought and stuff.
Another thought why the trailer maybe didn't come out is they are going off the trend now where they're even editing the trailers even more and more to like hide stuff.
Possibly.
Maybe they're just like constantly re-editing the trailer because they're not happy with it. So they think it's going to be done, so it gets rumored that it's going to be coming out, but then they change with it again.
Yeah, I think while everyone is desperate for it because they want to know what's going on, because like nothing really about the real story of it has been confirmed or denied, they don't need to release a trailer either because they're like, we've got all this hype and these fuckers don't even know what the story's about.
Yeah.
Maybe we just leave it.
True.
Because you're like, obviously we weren't doing the podcast back in the lead up to Spider-Man, but me and you spoke a number of times. I was very well of the opinion for a long time that we were never going to get a trailer. That we were just going to have to rock up on opening night and go watch it.
I still think they will drop a trailer.
They will drop a trailer, but it's going to be one trailer that is 3 minutes long at most, probably 2.5, that will drop a month before release.
When does Thor come out? You remember?
June, I want to say.
I wonder if they release. So we only got the
8th of July.
Okay.
That's the USA. I want to say it's like the 6th of July for us.
Okay. We only got the proper Multiverse of Madness trailer as a post-credits thing on Spider-Man. Didn't we? We got like the first proper trailer off that. I wonder if the Thor trailer is going to be a post-credits. Are they just going to drop it with Multiverse of Madness?
They've only done that once, and it wasn't that well received, so I would be surprised.
Yeah, but if they've already planned to do it that way...
Do you want to know why I think they did it? It was a Spider-Man movie, which Sony gets the money for, not Marvel.
I thought they split them.
No. Nope. As part of the New Deal, after Spider-Man left the MCU for a little while, Sony get all the money from the films.
Oh, okay.
I think that was Marvel going, fuck you, we did all the work on this film, we've seen the other films you've put out about us, and other than Into the Spider-Verse, they're shit. We're going to put our film at the end of this because this is our universe.
Yeah.
I don't see any full-on Marvel films that are creatively run by Marvel solely are going to have that kind of a post-credit scene.
I also feel like the reason they did it on Spider-Man is the storyline timing. they needed Spider-Man film to happen to help explain things.
Yeah, exactly.
I just wonder if something significant is going to happen
in Multiverse
of Madness that means the trailer has to come out after. So
maybe that I can believe. I just don't think the trailer's going to be a post-credit scene. I can believe they need to wait for Multiverse of Madness to finish, and it might not even be because anything happens that affects Thor, but it might be a case of, oh, if we show that in the trailer, they'll know that the Multiverse of Madness hasn't affected Thor, which has the same effect in a way.
Yeah.
So they might just go, we just got to wait until Multiverse of Madness is out.
So yeah, we might be waiting a little bit longer then.
But if we're going to be honest with ourselves, Multiverse of Madness, which I booked my ticket for, by the way, we're like not even a month away from it now. So we're probably going to have a similar discussion like this every week of going, Thor trailer's still not out. It's got to be. And then knowing our luck, it will drop the day before Doctor Strange and we'll feel like idiots. But as time goes on, I'm convinced we're waiting until after Doctor Strange.
I don't know. Maybe we'll.
I mean, the hype's building. The hype's building for the film even without the trailer. So spend a bit more time, make sure the trailer is exactly how you want it.
I think they do it on Multiverse Madness launch.
Well, unfortunately, we don't have the answer for that now, so we're going to have to wait and come back to it. And one of us will get to say, I told you so.
Exactly.
Okay, I think we're ready to get into the meat of our meal.
Yes, the juicy part of the week.
The steak. Moon Knight episode 3.
Mm-hmm. Oh, such a good episode.
So, initial thoughts. Obviously, the setting has changed. At the end of episode 2, we're in Egypt.
Mm.
What do you think of the way Egypt was portrayed?
They definitely showed. I've never been to Egypt, so it's hard to I guess, know how accurate it is as a general lifestyle. But I got the culture feel that they were in Egypt, and a more modern day Egypt, I guess.
Yeah, I feel like in a lot of Western media, Egypt is still depicted as a third world country. And it's definitely not anymore. Don't get me wrong, there's still going to be a lot of desert there because a large part of desert is uninhabitable. But they've also got huge cities, just like London or LA or New York or anything. So I think, and do you know what the show actually shows? The show shows, or you don't get content like this anywhere else. What they've done really well in the show, and what the show proves, is that you need people from that culture to accurately depict that culture. So the director being from Egypt, has definitely influenced that. No white director who's lived their entire life in America or England is going to depict Egypt like that. And this is why culture leading, directing, and acting in culture is so important. I thought, once again, it looked really good. The story is very compelling. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I think overall the episode was great. It was funny. There was some things we talked about last week that we were almost right on. Some we were right on, and then there's some things we were almost right on, but slightly wrong.
So I think, obviously, the main takeaway from this episode is, once again, them teasing that third personality in a much more
in-your-face way.
Yeah, exactly. The last couple of weeks, like, I said it to you, and you went, "Oh, I didn't even think of that." And like I said, I hadn't really seen anyone talking about it that much. This week, they were like, "Do you get it now?" I also really enjoyed, and I don't know, I really enjoyed the parallel. In the first episodes, we had Stephen losing time, and now we're getting Mark losing time. On one occasion, it was Stephen who took over, but then we know on another occasion it wasn't Stephen who took over. It was this other persona. So my thoughts on the third persona. I think the persona is still going to be called Jake. because they have no reason to change the name.
Mhm.
But I think, like how they changed Stephen from being this rich millionaire into just a lowly museum worker, I think we're going to see some changes to Jake's character to suit what they want from the character more, which is fine by me. But I'm really curious if the third personality being revealed is a season payoff, or if it's like a end of episode 4, middle of episode 5 payoff, so that we have all 3 of them for the last episode.
I think it'll be more of like an end of episode 4 payoff, because we had at the end of episode 2 was like when you finally understood what was going on about Mark and Stephen. So then I think they'll do the same again. I like how we thought this episode was going to be like, okay, Mark's just going to be in control, but it wasn't exactly that. It was like you said, the flip where we do, like the directors even said was going to happen. Like you're going to see it from Steven's, and now we're seeing it from Mark's point of view. I liked how they really did tease the third personality being like, oh, that wasn't Steven's, like, that wasn't me in control or whatever. Like, and I get the sense this third personality is going to be a lot more aggressive.
Yeah.
From whatever the fight was happened and it wasn't the other two, you get this sense that, which then makes me question, in that first episode when there's the fight going on in that town, and he gets surrounded and then he comes back and everything's bloody, like, was that Mark or was that the third one? Because
it's a good question, and I think that's what they want to do. They're just trying to keep us guessing without it being the big bad.
Yeah, they're trying to make us figure out the gaps without having to tell us all the gaps straight away and who was them. Which I really do like.
I know some people who aren't super fucking nerds like us might be struggling with that, but I do hope they're also enjoying it.
I think as it goes on, as long as those people stick with the show, like, things will become clearer. And I think, like, towards the end of the episode when he swapped to Stephen and we didn't get like a blank spot, we actually saw a continuation of the story, and it's like, okay, we're now in Stephen's perspective. That is them now like, okay, you are going to constantly see both Mark and Stephen. We're not going to do blank spots there. The blank spot going forward is going to be this third guy till they figure out who the third guy is. Yeah. And then it'll just like seamlessly swap between the 3. Like there'll be no like blank spots thereafter. So I think they're slowly like just building it up, and it will become clearer for the viewers there.
I think the main payoff of the entire series is going to be the 3 personalities working together like Stephen and Mark currently are.
Yeah. I liked how they finally, like, there was this kind of character point where they were like, okay, let's work together on this. Like, I realize I need Stephen for this, and Stephen was like, okay, I will help you with this. I'm not going to try and make us run away, sort of thing.
Do you know what else is the biggest, in hindsight, tease of the third personality?
Go on.
The posters. One poster was Moon Knight, which we know is Mark. One poster was Mr. Knight, which we know is Stephen. The other poster
was like hooded up.
Was hooded in the clothes he was wearing at the end of episode 3.
Almost like a boxer would be hooded up, or someone that's like...
But he was wearing the exact same outfit he was wearing at the end of episode 3.
True.
So, like, it's just another little thing that we can look back on now after two and a bit hours worth of the show and go, oh, look, David, he was over there all along. And, like, obviously, people like ourselves who are more aware that he had 3 personalities were going, oh, there's lots of 3s going on here. In the end credits, his face splits into 3 at the end of each episode. But if you don't know that the man has 3 personalities, you're not even going to particularly notice that.
No, or like with them now talking about another personality, so certain people are going to then think, oh, how many
Exactly.
Does he have?
And I mean, there's no reason the MCU has to stop at 3.
No.
I think the main thing for them is getting the 3
Core.
comic book ones there, and then if they decide they want to add more, they can. My favourite bit of the entire episode was when there was no cuts when they changed personality for the first time. Showing that harmony, but also the talent of Oscar Isaac to go from this one character to this other character in the same shot with no real break so seamlessly. I was very impressed by.
Oh yeah. Like you couldn't. It was like it was that moment, and by him selling that so well, like you get a different kind of feeling of that switch. Like before we got blank spots and you kind of felt that kind of jar of, okay, he swapped personalities there. Here it was like, oh, this is like they're just the same person. Like not the same person, but like they are the same being, just like it flows now. I really loved the whole turning back the night sky, the visual effects for that. I know it's Disney and I know the budget's big, but like even for a TV show, visual effects often are kind of corners are slightly cut in places because the budgets aren't as big as a film and time limit isn't as long. But they nailed the visual effects on that.
It was really fucking cool.
I also loved the fact we got a bit more interaction with Khonshu and a bit more background to what's gone on there. The whole like meeting inside the pyramid.
Was really cool as well.
That was really cool and really well done. And it's super interesting to then get to see like, oh, there's other avatars for the other gods. Like there's like a council of them.
Yeah, it's not just Khonshu's a brat, so he wanted an avatar. They all have avatars.
There was a really small detail, I don't know if you picked up on it, but when the meeting had like ended and Mark was speaking with I forget the antagonist's name.
Arthur Harrow.
Arthur. You could hear the glass in his sandals.
Can you?
Yeah, if you listen carefully, like I picked up on it, because it's something that's just like stuck with me since that first episode. But like as he's always walking, they are adding like there's this slight sound effect of like crunching glass that just really reminds you that, oh yeah, he's still walking on glass this whole time. Like that's a regular thing for him to be doing. Just small details that like continuity throughout the episodes they're carrying forward. Trying to think what else happened. There was so much shit to go on.
I mean, did you pick up on the person we were introduced to?
What, the collector guy?
Yeah, that's Midnight Man.
Oh, is it?
That's the actor who was playing Midnight Man in this show who passed away.
Oh,
Anton Murgar.
That completely went over my head.
Yeah.
Mainly because I forget names and stuff.
Yeah. Obviously the character's Anton. I forget the gentleman's name. So yeah. So what's interesting to me is if they don't use him again in this show, that wouldn't seem that weird because he kind of rode off after a fight. It's very possible that he's like, fuck that, don't want any more of that. But that means they were planning on using him. Now they can't.
Yeah.
Which is quite sad. Because I really liked him. I think he executed his role really well. He had that charisma of this guy who enjoys expensive art and loves the thrill of stealing, but also it is a legitimate threat. And it's sad.
Yeah. It'll be interesting to see where they take that, because they've had like the chance that if they wanted to tweak or like cut stuff out to change how he's going to be used since they've had, but yeah, I don't. The problem is like with the way the story's going, I don't see how he's gonna be like used as a main focus, like main character.
I think it was a very old school Marvel move of the characters in a shot. You get given their name, but not the name everyone associates with them. And then you move on, so it's there if you want to go back to it, and if not, you don't have to.
Yeah, which is a shame because like they'll probably like they're most likely still going to use that character. It's just unfortunate that they're going to have to probably recast
you say
it.
that, but they never used the leader who was teased all the way back in Incredible Hulk.
But that's the Hulk.
I know, but the leader's a brilliant villain.
Yeah, but the Hulk's just like there. The Hulk's. Yeah, I mean, it's a bit different.
You get my point now.
I get what you mean.
And what I've just realised, and this is going to throw you off because it's not in the notes, but it's just coming to me because we talk about the Hulk. It happened during our 2 weeks off, which is why we didn't talk about it. The actor who plays General Ross.
Oh yeah,
passed away.
Yeah, he did.
Which is really sad. He's been in the MCU. Well, I mean, before he passed away, he would be the tied longest member of the MCU now with Mark Ruffalo. No, longer than Mark Ruffalo, because Mark Ruffalo wasn't in the Incredible Hulk.
No, he wasn't.
So other than anyone who appeared in Iron Man 1, who may be happy, he
I'm trying to
was
remember
the longest serving character.
Did Robert Downey Jr. show up in the Incredible Hulk post-credit?
Yes, he did.
So I guess that's the only other person that's been as long?
Yeah, RDJ and anyone, because obviously Iron Man 1 was before the Incredible.
Oh, was it? Wait, was it?
Yeah. Iron Man was.
Why did I think Incredible Hulk was out before?
There was a Hulk film before Iron Man, but that's not part of the MCU.
Oh, yeah. Hulk's so messed up.
Yeah. So anyone who appeared in Iron Man and is still in the MCU.
It's longest.
It's longest serving. But he was right up there. He's there from the ground level with your Samuel L. Jacksons, your Robert Downey Jr.'s, your Jon Favreau's. So that was really sad. Because he was desperate to get to play Red Hulk. He said on a number of occasions that he wanted to be able to do Red Hulk. So it makes me sad more than anything else that he didn't get to do that because he wanted to. But yeah, I thought that deserved a little mention because I know how long we were off, but that is quite sad.
I'm trying to remember what the end of. Oh, Country got bound in the pyramid.
Country got put in prison.
That's obviously going to be. There's going to be an episode of breaking him out of that.
I think what this is going to do is it's going to give us time to really understand how much of Mark's psyche is shattered without Khonshu in the picture.
He kind of realizes he needs him.
Yeah, I think he's going to realize that he does need Khonshu. I think it's going to cause Khonshu to be less of an utter twat. But it also allows us to have more of an Indiana Jones vibe, which they've said we're going to get because he's not superpowered.
Yeah, and he's going to have to break into a pyramid and steal an artifact.
I will not be surprised. I will not be surprised if we get an homage to Raiders of the Lost Ark with the boulder.
I was going to say a rolling
boulder.
In
one way or another, yeah.
Some trap goes off in the pyramid, and a little switcheroo on the pedestal or something. Did
you also catch what was being discussed about Mark keeping from his ex-wife?
Did he have something to do with killing?
Yes.
Her father or whatever.
They mentioned in one of the previous episodes that Mark became Moon Knight and got saved by Khonshu after killing people and going into a pyramid. One of the professors he killed must have been his wife's dad. And I didn't realise that was the relation. But then when I realised her dad at the beginning of episode 3 was the professor he killed, I didn't realise that she didn't know.
Yeah, that's going to come back and bite him in the ass.
Especially bearing in mind, he's very well aware it was her dad. She has no idea, and right now he's heavily... to survive and get through it.
Yeah. That's gonna. I also, do you know what I also liked with her in this episode? She clearly prefers the Steven
Yes.
persona. They have a lot more. She has a lot more in common with this Steven personality, and I guess on a personal level. But then with Mark, it's like a work level kind of shared interest of things.
But overall, very, very enjoyable episode.
Yeah.
I'm completely hooked. I don't really know where the story's going, but not in a way of more in a way of, oh, anything could happen. I'm very excited to see what does.
Yeah, it's kind of like, it's obviously all going to relate to this tomb they're searching for, or burial site. It's just like, how far along does all this get? And what happens in between?
I will not be surprised if Amit gets released and we get a very, very cool fight of Arthur back at full power as Amit's avatar versus Mark as Khonshu's avatar. That leads to some fucking awesome looking fight scene, but also leads to the three personalities working together.
I agree. I think there's definitely going to be some big ass fight scene, which is going to be sick. I also, like we said it last week, but the pacing still, like, it doesn't feel like they're trying to speed anything up to get to a point where they need to be. It doesn't feel like they've slowed down at all. Like this pace that they've got suits this show very well.
Yeah, they're holding a really nice level with it. I'm very happy. As I've said, that's my only real complaint with the previous Marvel shows. The pacing at times was a bit off. Still very enjoyable, but it was a bit off. This show, for me personally, has a much nicer pacing.
I do think, I think I said it last week, but I do think that's down to the whole split personalities and being able to pace episodes around the reveals of them, and
yeah, definitely.
It just makes for a very easy, like, plan for a show sort of thing. But yeah, looking forward to the next episode. What's next?
So yeah, so we've got a couple of I guess just more generic questions, just so people can get to know a bit more about us, but it could lead to some very natural and interesting discussions. However, while we are creative people, coming up with questions isn't the easiest thing in the world, especially with other stuff we've got going on. So after we've gone through these, you guys have anything that you would want us to discuss, please let us know and we will absolutely use them at some point. Because this is something we've realised could help just fill out these episodes a bit more in a nice way. So these two kind of go together. They are two questions. So I've got, what is the best comic book movie, and what is the most entertaining comic book movie? So for best comic book movie, I'm kind of looking at like traditional what makes a movie good versus bad, and then what is the most entertaining comic book movie, in which case you don't really care if it all lines up beautiful sense and is a masterpiece of film, but it's just as entertaining as fuck comic book movie. Do you want to go first?
I'm gonna let you go first.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with most entertaining comic book movie first because this was a lot easier. For me personally, it's Deadpool 2. Have you said the exact same thing?
I've just put Deadpool. Both 1 and 2. I love them both. They're so funny.
The humour is beautiful. The scripts are very well written with no real plot holes. Very easy to watch. It feels like it's come out of a comic book and thrown on my screen. It does everything it needs to do to be a passable film, a more than passable film, while being a comic book character that people love and executing that element flawlessly. I just think everything that Deadpool does well, Deadpool 2 does even better, and the bits that Deadpool misses slightly, Deadpool 2 fixes, which is why I have Deadpool 2 as better.
Yeah, I can get behind Deadpool
but
2 being...
They're both entertaining as in hell. They're amazingly entertaining.
One of like the main I think the main reasons I picked it is just like Deadpool on his own is a very entertaining character in the way that he is done and written, and I love the fact that like he breaks the fourth wall, and I think they nailed that in the films as well, because that's such a key part of Deadpool, and it just made for like such an entertaining film. And I kind of think because they made it R-rated, however, it allowed them to be as funny and as entertaining as they want, as Deadpool should be, and it just was like the perfect mix for a comic book film.
Exactly. Similar point, but not going too far away, just me being fun facty. Do you know who the first Marvel character to break the fourth wall was?
I'm going to guess it wasn't Deadpool.
You can guess whoever you like.
Who's the first?
Feel free, people in the comments, to fact check me on this, but I'm pretty sure I'm right.
Spider-Man.
Nope. She-Hulk.
Oh. I didn't even know She-Hulk broke the fourth wall.
She breaks the fourth wall just as much as Deadpool does. Granted, in a slightly different way. It's not as like outlandish comedy as Deadpool. There's still a comedy element to it, of course, but she breaks the fourth wall a fair bit as well. And as far as I'm aware, she's the first Marvel character to do so. But again, I might be wrong.
Okay. So what you're saying is we're probably going to get some fourth wall breaking in the She-Hulk show.
Yeah, no. There's a very, very good chance we get some breaking TV show, and then you get idiots on the internet going, "Why are they just trying to make everyone?" Now people are already doing that with right. When in reality, I know for a fact She-Hulk broke the fourth wall before Deadpool.
Yeah. I'm sure those people will get shut down very quickly, I'm sure.
Oh, I hope so. Don't get me wrong, this stuff is for everybody, but if you're going to express shitty, unthought out opinions, prepare to be called out on. It's that simple. Every time I open my mouth on this podcast, I'm just waiting for the day I get people furious with my opinion.
Same, and I'm going to live for it.
What is your best comic book movie? I went most entertaining first. What in your opinion, what's the best comic book movie?
Now, this might be, as we've talked about, recency bias. And maybe it's just my personal bias as well. But Spider-Man No Way Home. I think it nailed. I might also be like just the fact that it's such the accumulation of all the Marvel films building up to this point in the story. But like, I feel like it told a really good story of Spider-Man himself as his character arc and where he reached as a character. It also nailed a great kind of story point of where the MCU is at and what's going on. Like a very key point, and I think it did it really well of introducing that. It's everything a comic book lover wanted by having 3 Spider-Mans in one film and that whole reveal and everything. Also just like very entertaining throughout the whole film, and very like it kept for a 3-hour film to keep people as engaged as it did. I think shows that it was a very well produced film. But yeah, that's where I'm at with my best comic book film.
So, after lots of deliberating, I narrowed it down to 2. I have made a decision between the 2, but Jesus Christ, it was not easy. So my 2 that I narrowed it down to were James Gunn's Suicide Squad.
Okay.
And Into the Spider-Verse.
Oh, I didn't even think about Into the Spider-Verse.
So I'm gonna list why I think both of them are worthy contenders. So, Into the Spider-Verse is obviously animated, which makes it easier to believe that it's come straight from the pages of a comic book. We have a plethora of characters who are all well developed and have great interactions, a compelling story, an amazing soundtrack. Animation is flawless in the film. One of my favourite film facts, full stop, is up until the What's Up Danger scene, where Miles jumps off the Empire State Building. Anytime he's doing anything Spider-Man related, he's animated in 12 frames instead of 24 like everyone else to make him look clunkier. After that scene, he's up to 24 frames like everyone else. And like that level of detail going into the film really did shine through in the quality of the final product. Whereas with James Gunn's Suicide Squad, first and foremost, what you've got is a director who loves his characters. Whatever characters he gets given or chooses to use, he lovingly crafts his version of them, which we saw with Polka Dot Man and King Shark. He really thinks about the comic book version of them and then has a bit. It's very quirky, very light-hearted, while also keeping that violence that you would get from a bunch of hardened criminals doing operations for the government. Used like cult classic heroes in people like Polka Dot Man and Star and the Rat Catcher, who like a lot of people know their names because they're seen as like these super fucking ridiculous characters. And like there's lots of records of him going into the meetings when getting ready to do this film going, I want permission to use these ridiculous fucking characters right here. They're all off the wall, batshit funny. I can have so much fun with them. Let me use them. The opening scene or segment of James Gunn's Suicide Squad might be some of the best comic book movie cinema I've ever seen. I don't want to go into it too much because I know you haven't seen it, but the way they play with you at the beginning of it is phenomenal. The corridor scene with Harley, that I think I've spoken about before, is beautiful. I literally got the same feeling I feel when I'm reading a comic watching that scene. But ultimately, the very last bit of the third act, while it's still very good, just the tone of it changed a bit too much for me, which threw the balance of the film off a little bit. And like this is me being super critical, so I can pick. Let's be completely clear here.
Yeah.
This is me being nitpicky as fuck. But because of that, I've had to go Spider.
Stomachful.
And I mean, it's a phenomenal film. It is everything it should be. If anyone who claims to love superhero films manages to watch that and not enjoy it, they're not a fan of superhero films. They're a fan of Marvel films.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't get better than that. The soundtrack, like I said, there are times where I will specifically go on my Spotify, play that soundtrack to physically motivate myself because it has that ability like nothing I've ever seen before. What's Up Danger makes me feel like I could run through a brick, not even feel it. It is the height of cinema. It is one of, in my opinion, the films ever created. So therefore, for me, it has to be the best comic book. But it was not easy. There are lots of really good contenders, like The Dark Knight and the new Batman film and No Way Home game. But them two, for me, really, they changed the genre while also being phenomenal cinema and phenomenal comic book adaptations, which is what made them stand head and shoulders above.
Yeah, I mean, had I remembered about Spider-Verse, that definitely would have been. I don't know why I just like my brain didn't even think of that.
It's probably because it's not live animated. Action. Yeah,
probably. And I think like everything you said about it, I think the biggest thing I loved about Spider-Verse was the fact that they used animation to their advantage in the storytelling with the frames thing.
Yeah.
Like I think that's just such a smart use of it. And now that I'm like you've talked about it and stuff, I was like, I think I'd still stick with Spider-Man No Way Home, but I definitely think it gains the feeling of it being like the best one to me because of where it landed in the MCU storyline build-up and like the Spider-Man's like it's got all the kind of helping to just like I guess build it up. Where Spider-Verse is like its own standalone like, little thing.
I think we also need to remember though, without Spider-Verse, there is no Spider-Man No Way Home.
Potentially. The storyline of MCU is still going in that direction.
Yeah, I think without the success of seeing multiple Spider-Mans on the same screen at the same time, I don't think they take the risk.
It's hard to say because Marvel planned stuff so far ahead. Like it honestly wouldn't surprise me if this was a plan that they'd thought up a long time ago, even before the success of Spider-Verse. But that just like cemented the idea.
So we had two more on the list, but we'll save them for next week. So in the comments, let us know what you think the best comic book movie is, and then let us know what you think the most entertaining comic book movie is. And if somehow you have the same answer for both, you're probably wrong, or you've named a film that me and Hori have both forgotten.
Or they just find one of the best, or maybe they pick one of the best ones and they just happen to find it the most entertaining.
Yeah, a proper cinephile who can only be entertained by really high and well-made film. Who knows?
Possibly.
So the next kind of point/question that I had on here kind of leads into the following. So this next bit, as all of the back end of our do, is at risk of getting a bit rambly.
Yes. It's the end of the business section, essentially.
So if one comic book movie project was going to be announced tomorrow, what do you want it to be?
If there was going to be one announced tomorrow. Does the announcement come with a trailer?
No.
But, damn. Fantastic Four. Well, we already have that as an announcement, but like I want.
I'm talking like full-on title cast.
Oh no, we've had nothing. Okay, if we've had nothing, I'd. Maybe Hercules. Throwback to what we talked about a few episodes back.
I could be down for them doing more of the Marvel gods.
Because I think pretty cool, and it also would sort of fit into where some of the storylines going.
With Eternals just coming out and Thor, now's not a bad time for them to go Lee style character. But I believe Hercules was part of the Eternals in the comics. So
possibly.
So we might be getting him in the sequel anyway. Who knows?
Who knows?
For me personally, if tomorrow I wake up and I see it giving me the name and cast for a comic book movie project, I want it to be an X-Men film.
I did think X-Men, but I couldn't think where we like. I was trying to think specific, but I suppose you could just have X-Men.
We know they're on the slate and they're coming eventually. If they can announce tomorrow for me the name, release date, and the cast list of this X-Men film, I'm dancing around my room like, fuck yeah, X-Men are back, bitches.
I think if they hadn't announced the Fantastic Four, and they've only given us the time, like if we were going to get everything, like Fantastic Four would be the case. Trying to think if there's anything else. I'd love if they just announced Deadpool 3 is also with Spider-Man.
That'd be amazing.
Like it's Deadpool and Spider-Man something. I think that would be fun.
I do. So obviously, the way this leads into our next point is, Captain America 4 is not about to film it. Marvel has confirmed. So I'm not sure if you saw any of this. Oh no, I linked you the tweet, didn't
I? Yeah, you did.
So basically, Anthony Mackie was doing an interview, and he just got his words tied and said he's starting filming Captain. What he actually meant to say was another film he's working on. He just got himself confused. But as is the media, they grabbed the snippet of him going, "Yeah, I'm starting Captain," and they ran with that title. So, which forced Marvel to come out and go, "No, it is not starting in a couple of weeks. We're like in the earlier stages of development. We're not ready to." It's funny. It's interesting. It just means Captain America 4 hasn't started filming yet. It means nothing at the end of the day. We don't know what stage of development they're in. The
Probably
script
writing.
could be done. The script might be still in its first draft. Who knows? I think we get a second season of Falcon and the Winter Soldier before we get the film anyway.
Yeah, I think you're right in that. I think before he is whole like a film as Captain America, I'll do another season where it like is that transition of him kind of taking on the mantle.
Oh yeah, so we have Falcon and the Winter Soldier in which he became Captain America. Give us a season of it being Captain America and the Winter Soldier, which I think will be the exit for Bucky. And then go into Captain America 4.
Yeah, I mean, like the fact it's not starting, it's not.
Yeah,
even if it was
something that happened.
Even if it was, it'd be years still. There's so many more films to come out first.
Multiverse Madness got its rating. PG-13. Is anyone surprised?
No.
I mean, they said it's going to be the scariest film ever in the MCU. You can be scary without doing anything that's going to get your rating bumped up. I don't think that's going to stop it being a creepy and eerie film.
Yeah, it's like I said to you, like, on the thing you linked me, it was like, oh, scary imagery or something or whatever. And I was like, well, that's obviously just the zombie strange moments. Like, it's just going to be the zombie stuff.
Yeah, you like I said, you can be scary and creepy and all without needing to do anything that's going to make it a 15.
Yeah, there's going to be a zombie strange. There's not going to be a zombie strange eating brains out of something and it's all blood and guts. Like,
exactly. Is there anything else that you have read, seen, thought about that you wish to discuss with me, sir?
Not that I am aware of. Yeah, no, nothing that I'm aware of. Obviously, like we did think last week probably would have been the last time I'm going to check on Black Panther. I think we're at a point now where we're just not going to hear any news unless it's something like some major thing happens on it. I don't think we're going to hear about any production news on Black Panther anymore.
If something happens and you don't mention it next week, though, like if there's an announcement and you don't mention it, I might kick off.
I might just say there's Black Panther news, but I'm just going to keep it to myself.
I know it. Inside scoop.
Yeah, I know what's going on. You just don't. A thing called Google. But I don't think there's anything else gone on in the world of Marvel, like MCU or anything. Or DC.
If anything has gone on, it's managed to skip my radar.
Yeah.
Okay. Superhero Showdown.
A little bit more prepared this week.
A little bit more, not much more. We're gonna have the bracket ready for next week.
Hopefully.
I'm off this week coming. I can spend some time seeding people and putting it together. If any of you guys have a hero, villain, Marvel, DC that you definitely want involved in this, make sure you comment them down below. Because if you do not comment them down below, there is a chance they will not get. So if there's anyone you definitely want in the bracket, make sure you comment it down below.
Especially if they're obscure.
I will be seeding them based off my gut instinct. Hori might give it a sense check if he wants to, see if there's any really disagreeing. If you do mention a character down below, don't forget to mention whether it's a comic book version. And if it's a comic book version and a specific universe, make sure you link the like say which universe. If you just say comic book, I'm going to assume main continuity. If it's a film version, say which film version, i.e. Batman, say if it's Patterson, Affleck, Bale, West.
Yeah.
And again, if you want anyone in, comment them down below. So you chose Thor, Hori?
I did. As we're going to be talking about the trailer and the God Butcher and stuff at the beginning, I thought, well, let's do 4. We haven't had 4.
And remind me again, was it comic book Thor or MCU Thor?
I said MCU because that's just the one I know best.
MCU Thor. Who do we think could have a really interesting fight with MCU Thor?
Don't forget, he now has Stormbringer as well.
Stormbreaker.
Why do I keep calling it Stormbringer? I did this in the past.
I don't know why you keep doing that.
I feel like that's from something else.
I believe it is. I want to say it's like a car or something from like a different franchise.
I don't think.
I really don't know because MCU Thor like has quite a wide array of like power levels. Let's go for Makkari from Eternals.
Oh,
because I think her super speed, being as ridiculous as it is, makes this an interesting fight.
That's a good point. Because I don't. Is Thor's reactions quick enough?
Mind Icarus is pretty fucking strong. Like there was a fair bit of time where he was getting his ass handed to him by Makkari.
Yeah. Okay, so if we're doing MCU Thor, he has Stormbreaker.
Yeah.
Does he also have the hammer?
No. He can have one. I'll let you choose which one you want him to have, but he has one.
I'm like, do we pick the hammer and they can just put the hammer on Hannah and she can't move?
Have to get her to stand still enough.
Well, if they're fighting, there's going to be a point where you could potentially. I'm going to stay with Stormbreaker.
Every time Rory says Storm, just debating in his head whether
I am. Breaker. Do you know what? I googled Stormbringer and it's a fantasy magic sword. So I presume I've heard someone use that in a D&D campaign.
Okay. Do you want an easy way to remember it? Stormbreaker in the comics was Beta Ray Bill's weapon that was designed to kill Thor, i.e. break the storm because he is the god of thunder.
We'll do him with Stormbreaker.
So he's Stormbreaker, which means he's slightly more powerful. So he's got strength on her. Battle experience, I'm going to call pretty even because they're both very old.
Yeah.
So he's stronger. They have similar battle experience. She is fast. I guess the real question is, have we had any evidence that MCU Thor has enhanced speed?
Not running speed. He's only fast when he's flying.
He doesn't really fly either. He just kind of throws his hammer and doesn't let go of it.
True.
Based on feats, I'm not convinced he really has a chance to react to Makkari. The question is, if he just brings down a crap ton of lightning and thunder, is she quick enough to get out of the way without getting hit?
So, I presume we're doing MCU.
Makkari.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know enough about a comic book counterpart.
So, with her being deaf, thunder doesn't really affect her.
Yeah, but getting struck by lightning wouldn't tickle.
But this is what I was thinking before you said that. It's like, even if she, like, she did with Icarus, like, runs into him and starts slamming him through rocks, if he just does, like, a fucking lightning blast on where he is, does that stun her enough? And then it just negates her speed if she's stunned, doesn't it?
Do you want to know what's going on in my head right now, Hori? I know there are a load of people right now that go, oh, obviously powerful. I'm not debating that he's not stronger than her. I'm not debating that he's not more powerful than her. But what it comes down to is Superman is more powerful, but the Flash is too fast for Superman, so he deals with him before he can even think. It's all well and good saying, oh, he just brings lightning down on her. But she's just blitzing him so far that he doesn't even have time to think and
it's reaction speed.
You see what I mean? Like that's what people always seem to forget when it comes to fighting speedsters.
I think I'm gonna lean towards 4 just because.
Lean towards who? Sorry.
4. Mainly because, like, from what we saw in Eternals, like, yes, she did use her speed, like, bouncing around, but, like, just came a point where she just basically just ran at them, at Icarus, and I feel like she'd end up doing the same to Thor. As like her way of trying to like finish him or something is like just run him and slam him into something, which at that point, that's when Thor can just use lightning and probably stun her, and then he, like, I think he is strong enough to withstand like that, like rapid beating, and then when he gets the opportunity where she just like, I don't know, full sprinted him and slams him, that's when he then takes the upper hand.
Yeah, I think I'm on the same kind of wavelength as you. I think she beats the crap out of him for a while, but his durability is so high, I don't think she can actually beat him.
Just in that way. So she tries
in enough time. So eventually he's going to get lucky enough to land a random swing or clip her with some lightning. And I don't think her durability is high enough to be able to get back up from that super quickly, at which point it's game over.
Yeah. I think it comes down to the durability thing.
Yeah. There is definitely a world where she does manage to wear him down through luck of getting hit. But I think often enough eventually he will clip her and then it's game over.
Yeah, I think it just like he hits her with lightning once, stunned. Like that's just gonna, she's sprinting anywhere then, and then it's like.
But speedsters are no joke.
No.
We haven't really had any in the end. Quicksilver. And I mean, we saw how much Thor struggled with Quicksilver. It wasn't easy for him. The only reason he really managed to stop, grab Mjolnir.
Yeah.
So I do think it wouldn't be an easy fight, but I think Thor's durability would allow him to survive long, get a lucky shot in, which he would capitalize on.
Yeah, I think at the end of the day, Thor wins this fight. Right.
Okay. Sweet. That was a decent discussion. Like I said, we'll have the bracket sorted out, which will stop this being so short. Probably give us plenty of episodes worth of discussion.
Yeah, and we'll know more going into it.
Exactly. We'll have a set fight for that week, and then Hori can research the characters if he doesn't already know them, and I can make my mind up and belligerent arsehole who refuses to change their mind, and it'll be great.
I'll pick the opposite, so that.
I think that's probably it from us.
Mm-hmm.
All of the usual. Like the video, it really is helpful if you do. And if you watch all of the other little bits as we put them up, we'll go back to like them as well. It's just helpful. If you enjoy us, hopefully other people enjoy us as well. So by liking, algorithm can find the other people who might like better. Me and Hori are both streaming. Hori has streamed before. He's a very good streamer. You should go watch him. And if there's plenty of people regularly watching him, he'll feel pressured into trying to keep some kind of a schedule instead of being.
I'm doing well so far.
You are. You're doing very well. I've been greatly enjoying what. Come watch me if you want to watch someone who's only ever used a controller for their entire life. It is as painful as it sounds, but you can.
You're doing all right.
I'm doing better than I expected. But once again, thank you. This is one of the highlights of my week every week. Just getting to sit down with a friend and nerd out. Thank you for watching it and hopefully enjoying it. And I will catch you next week. Have a lovely weekend.
See you next week.